Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, and today I am joined by Carolina of Hypoxia, whose latest record, Defiance, just came out off of self-made uh, God Records. Carolina, thank you so much for joining me today. How are we doing tonight?
Oh, it's okay. Awesome. I'm super glad to be part of the Beaver Mosh family, and I'm super excited about this release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's following your 2019 release, Abhorrent Disease, from 5 years ago. And that's so 5 years in that period. How has the band evolved or changed, or has it?
Yeah, no, it changed a lot. I mean, we all definitely went through the pandemic,
Hmm.
which it was brutal for everybody. But as a musician, I can probably say that we all grew a lot because we had more time to practice because there was nothing else to do. So
Hmm.
we took it to the next level. Um, but there was also a part that was new for the band that we never really practiced like remotely.
Sure.
We could jam in the same room, and I moved away from New York City, so we started doing the remote thing, and so it pushed us to like learn how to do, record by yourself and do all that kind of producing an
Hmm.
album kind of thing. So, we learned a lot, and also we have to, well, one new member because Mike Pogion was part of the Abhorrent Disease release as well, the bass player, but Ryan Mole became a member after he helped us in 2019 with our release show. Um, we played a show in San Vitus in Brooklyn, and he jumped in and he did great. And we wanted to keep him in the band, so we asked him if he wanted to be part of the recording, and he said yeah. So it was great because he's a very seasoned musician, and he's
Hmm.
been in so many projects that he has like his own flavor, and he added that to the band, which made it better, different. I
Sure.
mean, I wouldn't say, yeah, it's just different. Yeah, we are very happy with the result.
Now, did you all have, you mentioned kind of recording and practicing remotely. Did you have any experience with like home producing and home recording prior to this, or was this a new experience for all of you?
For me, it was new. I mean,
Yeah,
not new. For me, it wasn't new because I have another band where everything is remotely.
sure.
But for Carlos, who is the main writer, was definitely new. He's not really good with computers, so he had to be better and learn a
Yeah.
lot, and he did, and he, definitely learned how to record his own guitars and like work uh software where you can do that, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the record's been out for close to a week now, and I'm
Mhm.
wondering how has the response been so far? Is that something you pay attention to?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, tomorrow's Bandcamp Friday, so we're gonna give it another push
Yeah.
because we didn't, usually when you release a record, you have to play shows and promote a lot and stuff. But since the album was released by a label that is in Europe, in Poland, we only got the CDs 2 days ago,
Oh
so we
wow.
couldn't really, yeah, so we did a release party and we didn't even have the CDs. So this is gonna be more like this weekend. It's gonna be more like I'm gonna do a video tomorrow and like show the CD and all that, maybe to push more sales and see, But yeah, I mean, the response has been pretty good. Like on social media, a lot of good, good reviews,
Yeah.
all that.
It almost sounds like it was like kind of like there was the digital release a week ago, and then tomorrow or in a couple days is the physical release.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
It's interesting how that
totally.
works these days.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, yeah. Well, for you personally, during these like 5 years since your last record, you have been in another band. You've been playing with Castrator, and I'm
Mhm.
curious, as a drummer for both of these projects, how how are they different for you? What musically, what do you get to express in one that you don't get to express in the other, and vice versa?
Well, Hypoxia is my baby. Like
Okay.
Hypoxia has been, I've been, it, it's been like since 2007 or it's 2008, so it's been a
Hmm.
long time. Castrator started in 2015, and Castrator started because of Hypoxia, because we played a show we used to play a lot of local shows in New York. We were always opening band for bands that were like coming through like with tours and stuff. So
Hmm.
that's how I met Robin, the bass player, because she was playing with her kid, and we were like, oh, we should start a band together. But Hypoxia was always that band that I put a lot of time in, and it's just different. They both bands give me very different satisfactions.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love both. I just
Yeah,
love playing metal, and Hypoxia is more like old school death metal, but like it's a little more technical, I would say. I don't
sure.
know, it's different. It's different.
Hmm. Now, as the drummer, tell tell my viewers what that experience is like uniquely as the drummer of a metal band versus saying like the bass player or the guitar player.
Yeah, I mean, it is um it's a true discipline.
Hmm.
You don't play drums, especially in metal, to be cool or anything like that. It's definitely your lifestyle. You
Sure.
have to spend a lot of time behind the kid to improve a lot of techniques that are very extreme
Hmm.
and hard on your body. Like you develop a lot of pains and aches
Yeah.
and all that, but it's worth it because you have to like extreme stuff. You have
Yeah.
to it's almost like a when it's like a sport. Like when you want to be good at a sport, you practice and practice and practice, put your body through a lot of pain and all that to see a result. It's the same with drumming. So especially with death metal,
Hmm.
you know. So it is I think out of all the instruments, drums are the most rewarding
Hmm.
because of the amount of work you have to put to achieve to achieve the complete sound, because you know the sound is only achieved after many 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 hours of
Hmm.
practicing same thing over and over.
Now, I guess when you were younger and maybe discovering metal, were there any specific record where you put it on and you heard the drum and you're like, yes, I want to do that. I want to be in a band and I want to do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sepultura.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
beneath the remains. Also with Malevolent Creation, Ten Commandments,
Sure. Of
Alex
course.
Marquez. Yeah, it's just mwah.
Yeah.
Yes, beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah, DSI too. I mean, anything that was extreme and had its own flavor. I would just fall in
Yeah.
love with Morbid Angel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Those early
Altar to
morbid.
Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Covenant.
Alter the Madness. Hearing that
Yeah.
double bass on that record, it sounds disgusting. It sounds
Evil.
vicious. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Uh,
evil.
yeah. Well, you already mentioned that you formed this band in 2007, 2008, I think. Did you think you'd still be putting out death metal records with Hypoxia in 2024?
No, absolutely not. Especially because we've been through so many members.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find people that are as dedicated as you are. A lot of people see it as a hobby. And like I said, it's not a hobby. Everything
No.
else around it is a hobby.
Yeah.
You just make it happen because you want to do this thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of points where we were like, oh, this band's done. Especially when you lose a vocalist, vocalist is like,
Sure.
oh, yeah. But no, I mean, here we are.
And are you the only are there other founding members still in the band?
Yes, Carlos.
Carlos? Okay.
Yeah, the Dirty is his nickname. Yeah, him and I started the band. We met like a long time ago, like I'm gonna say early 2000s. And I was a teenager, and he had
Mm,
another band. We used to practice in the same like compound,
sure.
and he had a room, and me and my brother, we had another room. We used to have another band, but we were like teenagers, and he was like in a more professional band,
Sure.
and they sounded awesome. The name of that band was Secrecy,
Okay.
and I really admired how they played, how dedicated they were. Like their sound was freaking amazing. And we played more like me and my brother wanted to sound like that, but we were not there yet. But like since we all played at the same place, we all hung out and we like used to like go to each other's rehearsal rooms and just hang out.
Mm,
And then, we all moved out and life just happened. And then maybe like 7 years later, we met at a Carcass show. And I was
oh
like,
hell
dude,
yeah.
yeah, we're like, I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? Are you still playing? He wasn't playing with anyone. I wasn't playing with anyone. And it was like, you want to jam? Sure. And that's how it started. Yeah, just jamming.
Yeah. That's like a very classic origin story. You beat your bandmates at a
Yeah,
sick death metal gig, and you're like, "Hey, let's jam," and then it happened.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The rest is history.
Well, when I was going through and kind of going through my promos of stuff that I wanted to kind of listen to, I got to be honest. What struck me and like maybe like okay, I got to check this out, make sure that I have this on my radar, is the cover art. It is gruesome. Can you tell me what the inspiration for that was?
Yeah, the artwork is awesome. So we've
Yeah.
used the same artist for all three of our albums, our full
Uh,
length albums, and his name is Damorth, and
okay.
he's from Russia,
Okay.
and he is a metalhead, and he gets it. He
Yeah.
gets and what we want. But also our vocalist Mike Bobchak is also an artist, and he writes all the lyrics and all the themes and everything. So when we were talking about the artwork concept, he pitched the idea of the song Bleed for Blasphemy,
Hmm.
which is, like it's pretty self-explanatory. But we didn't want to do it like everyone else does, like the church, wanted it to be like the government or like the state or, like
Yeah.
this. And we sent him this idea, and then he sends us that shit. We're like, whoa, that's like Hellraiser shit. Like, it was like, yeah, it just captured that evil so good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like this Inquisition type thing. It's just
Yeah.
it's like it makes you uncomfortable, but like also like I want to keep looking at it. Like this is
Yeah.
this is hard to stomach, but also like that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. We were like, oh, because he took a little while to do it. We're like, oh, was he gonna send it? We're like a little concerned, and he sent it, and we're like, oh, it's perfect. You don't need to change anything. Because usually when you work with an artist, like go back and forth, like, oh
Mm,
yes, no, but that was like, yes,
yeah.
immediately, yeah.
Now, when I listen to the record, when I listen to your band, I would it be fair to say that you're going for a more traditional, old school death metal sound, but maybe giving it more of a contemporary feel. Like this is like not trying to be anything overly modern. This is like going to like the roots, the guts of death metal.
Yeah, because that's what we all like.
Yeah,
We That's what we enjoy, and we're not trying to like create anything new. We like the formula of death metal,
yeah.
and so we just want to keep it alive.
Hmm.
It's not if it's not for you, it's not for you, but it is definitely what we like, so that's what we're playing.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
It's our essence combined, like all of our essences combined, and that's why it sounds unique, but all at the same time. It's weird.
I think that's why death metal gained an audience in the first place, right? Because it just
Mhm.
had this unique dirtiness to it. It was
Yeah,
ugly, it was
yeah,
gross. It was like the opposite of everything else around
yeah.
it.
And
It was,
it's gotta be raw.
yeah,
It's not pretty. Like metal's not supposed to be pretty.
no.
Even though we always put an acoustic somewhere in our albums, because that's also another like signature of like Carlos. Like he always wants an acoustic piece. But for this album, we did an intro and an outro with the
Hmm.
acoustic. That's the only pretty parts.
And what purpose do you all find for including those acoustic pieces in?
Just to like have something different. And
Sure.
he just wants I mean, like I've been against it, but he wants it, and that's it's whatever. Like it's cool. I
Yeah.
love classical music. I love classical guitar. It's all part of music. Yeah.
Yeah, I love classical music too. I listen to a lot of classical, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
metalheads do. I think that maybe like a stereotype that metalheads
Well,
also listen to.
we're extremists. We
Yeah.
like extreme, so we like either dark or like black or white. you know? Yeah. But he worked super hard in creating these pieces and invests a lot of time in, like, every movement and every transition. It's not like something he came up with like on the fly. So that's respectable.
So when we were talking about the cover art, you mentioned that you had the lyrics ideas for this one track that became the
Yeah.
cover art. And I'm wondering if as you kind of sound like a band that does take your lyrics seriously, how do you go about putting a song together that riffs first and riffs are the most important? Do you have like a thematic idea that you build around? I mean,
Oh,
what's the starting point?
yeah. So Mike is in charge of all the lyrics and all the concepts, and we give him all the music done, even with solos, and that's when he gets inspired. And whatever the song, when the song is finished, it's
Yeah.
when he decides what the song is going to be. We don't even know until the end.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
crazy.
now, when you, the drummer, get in Hypoxia, do you get a track and then you kind of decide, okay, I'm going to put this fill here, I'm going to put this pattern here, or is it the other way
No,
around?
not necessarily. So with me, just because Carlos and I started the band together, and we used to jam together, and
Yeah.
we used to. Oh my god, my shit's gonna fall. Sorry, I saw
You're
something
good.
moving. It's like my pile. Yeah. So because we started the band together, we used to jam and just like bounce ideas back and forth, and yes, to just more organic approach. Since we kind of lost that, I would just ask him to like send me a riff, and I
Yeah.
would just experiment different um patterns and drum beats and stuff on top, and then see what he would like best, or if meet somewhere in the middle. But also, like, if he would send me a complete song idea, like, I would try playing to it, but then we would modify parts where, like, if this is too long or this stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, you gotta be flexible, and you gotta listen to each other's opinions when you're working remotely, because otherwise it becomes a dictatorship.
Sure.
So yeah, it's gotta be still has that you know organic feel, because we did work on it like that. It wasn't something created in a computer or whatever.
Yeah, and I've heard stories of, and you described as like dictatorship, and
Oh
I've
yeah.
heard of a lot of band stories of bands just failing or falling apart because there were these egos in the way, and where it became a
Yeah.
dictatorship, and there was not this like collective, input.
Yeah. I mean, it depends, because I've seen both sides of it. Like with Castrator, for example, there are only two main writers, which are Robin and me, because we've had members that just had no respect for anyone's ideas or stuff
Mm,
like that, and like, you can't have a discussion with someone that is not open to discussion. So
sure.
yeah,
Now
it's
you now you did mention that with a new record, part of the whole process is playing shows around it. Do you have live dates planned? Do you have any festivals you're booking or anything you have
not at the
on?
moment, but we definitely want to. We
Yeah.
want to see how the album does, and we definitely want to play like good shows and stuff. We didn't plan a show for the release, because you know getting ready for a show is a lot of work.
Oh
And when you
yeah.
don't live in the same city anymore, it's also money. So it's gotta be worth it. It's
Hmm.
gotta be worth it, unfortunately. We can't just like get ready and travel to go play like in a for like a small exposure. Sorry, it's just the
Yeah,
reality.
no. That's kind of maybe a challenge of being in this kind of underground scene is that like there are a lot of fans. There are a lot of people who go to shows, but they're all kind of spread out. You can't just like
Yeah, that's why festival would be perfect. Like, if we get a
yeah.
festival offer, we'll be there. No, no, no hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping that we could maybe talk a little more outside of just this band. I was wanting to hear your thoughts as someone in a death metal band. What makes a good death metal album?
Um, it depends. I mean, I feel like these days, for me, it's got to be like a little bit different, but also not different. You know what I'm saying? Like I still
Sure.
want to hear like that, like I said, like that death metal formula.
Hmm.
But you have to add your own flavor to it, you know? And like definitely the sound, like the producing of the album is very important. It's gotta have really good sound,
Hmm.
because we've been guilty of it too, where when an album is overproduced, it loses its essence, you know. So like it's got to be a little bit raw, and also just good riffs. Riffs are what makes a good death metal album.
Of course.
Gotta have a catchiness.
Yeah. As hearing you describe that, what came to my mind just over and over again as you're like, okay, yep, check, check, check is Surgical Steel by Carcass. Because
Yeah.
th that record, obviously at the time when Carcass put that out, they were already legends. But that record in particular, because it is in one hand extremely gritty and nasty, and it isn't overproduced at all, but it also has this professionalism that I think Carcass had developed over their long career, and it was kind of more return to their more old school roots, but it also had kind of a progressive edge. It kind of met the
Yeah.
perfect balance in all of those categories.
Yeah, I mean that album is it's a good album. I'm like a old school Carcass,
Of course.
like Die Hard. So to me it was a little bit of a heartbreak, but I will never deny that it's a good album, you know. Just I miss like hard work, like that's just, but I mean at the same time I understand the route they took, and it was
Yeah.
a great. Yeah.
So did you say that you do enjoy hard work?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
There are some Carcass fans who are like, I only like the grindcore stuff, but there are some Carcass fans like I only like the Melodeath stuff, like
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no. Yeah, Carcass is one of those bands that they can do whatever they want, you know, and they'll get people support.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Them
they
and
do their own
like
thing.
them and like Opeth. Opeth can literally put out like an acoustic album, which they have done, and people still
Yeah,
go crazy for it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you were to pretend that I was a death metal noob, like I've never heard the genre, um, what are some records you're throwing at me to like start out? What's my starter pack?
Oof. I would definitely recommend Gorguts, Consider Death,
Hmm.
um, Deicide Legion,
Of course.
Morbid Angel Covenant, and Authors of Madness, Malevolent Creation, Ten Commandments, and Retribution.
Hmm.
It's just a must. Anything with Alex Marquez, pretty much. But I'm talking from a drummer's point of view.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely Sepultura, old Sepultura, like a Rise and Beneath the Remains.
Hmm.
And I mean those are some good starting points right there. And then Defeated Sanity. I love Defeated Sanity.
Oh,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah,
I was actually just listening to some
yeah.
Defeated
Sad.
Sanity the other day. It's some of the like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
batshit insane, like brutal death metal, but it also has a technical edge. It's out there, and I love it.
Yeah, it's very unique. Very unique.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know, man. All those guys are just insane.
Hmm.
Very, very cool stuff what they do.
How about any of the like? I mean, would you recommend any of the more of the melodic stuff? Like, would you like an In Flames record or an At the Gates or that? Not really a your
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, if like I said, I'm talking from a drummer's
Of
perspective.
course, I hear
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So for me, if you want to listen to, if you never listen to death metal, yeah, you should check out the Gates.
Yeah,
You know, um, In Flames, I was never a fan. Never a
God.
fan of. I would definitely recommend Meshuggah, even though they're not death metal. They
Yeah.
are so heavy, so freaking heavy. You know,
Can I be
which
honest with you? I've never really spent time with Meshuggah, and I know I need to fix
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. The same with In Flames. I never spent time listening to In Flames, so I would never recommend it because I
Yeah.
don't. I know people love them, but I'm like I have no. If you play me an In Flames song right now, I wouldn't know it's them. Yeah, Meshuggah, like it's just super revolutionary. What they did was just very different. You know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um. Yeah. I mean, Coroner.
Okay.
Coroner. Masked Jackal, a must for death metal. Um, Obituary
Of course.
for sure. Yeah, Cannibal, all the Florida legends.
Can't go wrong with Cannibal Corpse.
Suffocation, Effigy,
Uh,
and yeah, yeah. Suffocation is huge. Actually, a huge influence for me.
yeah. Effigy has got some
Yeah,
of the most, some of the best death metal riffs ever
yeah.
recorded, in my opinion.
Hmm. Hmm.
Same thing with
Yeah.
some of those Dying Fetus records. Like
Oh,
that was,
totally. Yeah, I
yeah.
love Dying Fetus. Yeah. Dying Fetus, the thing is, the Dying Fetus is like more like advanced. Like you can't tell someone that's never listened to death metal to go listen to Dying Fetus because
Sure, yeah. It's a little more, has
yeah,
a
you have to
different thing going on.
develop that palate.
Yeah, yeah. I would maybe, I would maybe throw some of the Swedish stuff in at him too,
Oh,
like an Entombed record or
yeah.
Dismember or
Yeah, totally.
uh
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Is there so many? There's so many bands.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's so many death
That's
metal records.
when people ask me like, "What are your favorite death metals?" I'm like, I don't. I can tell you three right now, but like, I guaranteed in 10 minutes I'll be like, "Oh, but these other three." It's just like too many.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I think to like an outsider, to an untrained ear, like they hear death metal and they're like, "This is okay. It's death
Yeah,
metal." They can't tell the nuances of how varied the genre
I
is, how
know. Like,
much of it is.
also, must is Immolation's Dawn of Possession. A must.
I, last time I saw Immolation, um, what I was so surprised by, I don't know why this surprised me, just because I've never like really watched like interviews with them or anything. Is because on on tape they sound so evil. They're so mean and
Yeah.
vile, and then you get on see what I'm saying. They're the nicest guys. Like they're
Yeah,
just so
they are
sweet.
the most genuine, nicest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they are awesome. But yeah, the music is evil as fuck. And
Yeah.
especially Dawn of Possession is like, and their latest album is awesome too. Acts of God is
Yeah,
very good.
I own that. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Ross is a great vocalist and a great bassist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top notch.
Mhm. Well, Carolina, I don't really have any more questions for you. But before I let you go, I did want to kind of give the floor to you for any potential last thoughts you had, or for any plugs or anything you want to leave my listeners with.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, if everyone can go check out our Bandcamp, it's
Mm,
hypoxiaband.bandcamp.com. Also, subscribe to Beaver Mosh
thank you.
and yeah, stay metal.
Stay metal. Well,
Yeah.
for everyone watching at home, you know the drill. My name is Maddie, aka Beavermosh, and I'm signing off.